All right, let's break it in first. What was your first concert you ever went to?
Oh man, Steve Miller Band,
Where were you?
Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah.
Poison, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Nice.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
stumbled my way into a Tool concert one time, and that was an experience I was not ready for, but it was a great time. It was a great time. Perfect. Okay, gentlemen, let's start this off with give me a little bit of who you are, what you do for Interstates, who Interstates is, what kind of work you guys do, the size. We did some long introductions earlier this morning, but this is just give me the Cliff Notes version, but you individually and the company.
Gotcha. You, me, you.
Well, that's Jeremy Oliver. I'm a senior technologist with Interstates. Work in our innovation group. So,
Yeah, I'm Andrew Aker. I am the workforce manager, so mostly workforce operations. Interstates, we're based out of Iowa, but operate nationwide. We do electrical construction, automation, engineering, and fabrication.
What's the rough size of the company?
So we're close to about 1,800 full-time employees across, I think we have 11 or 12 regional locations to date. And then we have a traveling group that'll operate anywhere basically in the lower 48.
Perfect. Okay, so Rivet, we're going to talk a lot about visibility. We talk with a lot of contractors, and that constantly comes up of this idea of a real-time labor control center, this idea of I'm gaining visibility into what's going on. And so throughout our conversation today, I really want to focus on what that visibility means to you all. Okay, and so let's specifically look at it from someone your scale, right? Just right off the bat, what does it mean to have visibility into a workforce that size spread out across that geographic, but also that project scope so broad and expansive?
That's a good question. Having that visibility gives us the capability to make decisions, big decisions, that affect the future of the company. So we know who we have, where we have them, how long they're going to be there, and where all the gaps are that can be filled. So when we have prospective work come in the door, we're generally quickly able to assess, can we fit the time frame? Can we meet the licensing and credentialing needs? Yes or no, and we can make decisions based off that. Sometimes we can meet all the needs, sometimes we can't, but we have enough time that we can work through those issues ahead of time, so by the time the project gets there, we can meet them. So it gives us all that visibility to be able to do that in real time.
How does Rivet fit into that explicitly?
We Rivet forecasting, right? So all of our field personnel are scheduled there. Any job they're on, we schedule them. We also forecast every current and prospective job. So we know based on the timelines of those projects, the sizes, what our labor demand is, and where that lines out on the calendar.
You're telling me you actually forecast all your projects?
Every one of them.
No shit. Why is that important, Andrew?
Why wouldn't you? So how do you know?
I hear this a lot. It's not worth the time. Our people will never do it.
In my position, I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't. Right, I would always be worrying about the decision that's made. Can we actually do it? Can we not? So it's peace of mind, in my opinion.
So you guys are not pursuing work unless it fits in your labor forecast?
Typically. Sometimes there's directives that we get that we are pursuing them, but then we know where we sit, right? And so we have the capability then to, this influences all kinds of things. It'll influence our hiring needs. So I can go to our recruiting group and know what we need to hire, when we need to hire them, what kind of credentials they need, licensing they need, things like that. So it informs us there. It informs us with our training and onboarding group, what our needs are, what our capacity needs to be. So that forecast really affects everything else down the line. So we know right now in 12 months how many people we need to hire, which that's going to directly impact. Additionally, what do we need for recruiting capacity? What do we need for training capacity? When we bring on more apprentices, what's that going to do to our apprenticeship program? What's that going to do to the capacity of our instructors? So it affects everything down the line. It's not just about staffing the job, but it affects that whole cycle.
What would you guys say to somebody that doesn't have visibility into this labor forecast or isn't actually labor forecasting their projects? Because believe it or not, they are out there everywhere.
How high's your blood pressure? It's like, I couldn't do this job without it. So I wouldn't want to do this job without it. I'll put it that way.
The one thing I was going to probably add in here too is like from an innovation perspective. So we look at that forecast. We're looking at that forecast to give ourselves an idea of a breakdown and like how many people we have on a project. And then as we're evaluating innovation projects, that helps us understand the impact it's going to have to the organization based on how what our project mix is and how it's going to impact our small, medium, large, extra large projects. So we found that extremely valuable, even looking forward to things we're going to do in the future, not just project work, but how we're going to impact projects with how we're performing them. So
tell me about the information, the data, right? What does it mean for the company to be able to have this data around these jobs, how they went in the past, these jobs, how we're executing against them? What does that mean for the company as a portfolio to have that information?
Yeah, that helps us. Understand where our jobs are performing, and then we can compare those jobs against an idealized state or where we want to be operating at, and then we can make better decisions of how to change what we're doing with those jobs. So do we need to add more people? Do we need to add less people? Do we need to add certain types of people more to a job? And just understand what that mix is and then how that's impacting our performance.
Have you guys ever seen, do you have any stories around, maybe it was before Rivet, but like a forecasting miss, somewhere where one of them got through or before you had the visibility and we found ourselves on a job and there's a forecasting miss at play? Anything pop out for that? And if not, that's totally okay too. But I always want to ask because it helps make sense to those that aren't labor forecasting why it's so incredibly important, because it usually sounds pretty familiar.
Well, I think it's kind of along those lines, but right, the tool enables us to forecast. It does a lot of the work for us. It helps track everything, but we still have to have our processes in place. So there are moments where a project comes across my desk and I hear, hey, this was awarded, and I never knew anything about it. So it has a forecast now, but it didn't 4 months ago when we started pursuing this thing. It's a pretty rare occasion, but those are big surprises, and oftentimes issues becomes an issue we got to work through. So it's real important that we follow our process around how we forecast and how we make decisions on what jobs we pursue.
Tell me about the size of, you have a team. You guys have what I would call a centralized labor planning, labor dispatching team, okay? And we see two models usually, one where the PMs and the foremen are kind of like horse trading labor amongst. There's other centralized ones where, okay, all the labor comes in and gets dispatched out from here. What's the size of that team? What did that team look like before Rivet? What did it look like after Rivet? How much larger would it be without a tool like Rivet? Any thoughts there?
Yeah, good question. So we operate a couple different ways. So we have our regional offices, they have local pools of workers or resources. So generally those local offices are responsible for planning and deploying those folks. They also use Rivet for forecasting, scheduling, that kind of thing. With our traveling group, which is what I primarily work with, we have about 350 full-time. We flex up anywhere right now, currently probably up to 550, something like that. So we have a small team. It's myself. Mainly what I focus on, among other things, is the forecast and the forward-looking items. We have 2 workforce planners, is what we call them. So they work primarily, we kind of split it by job type. So we are working in the data center world, which is pretty demanding. A lot of certification and compliance items that have to be, all the T's and crossed and I's dotted. So we have one person that focuses primarily on the data center lane, and we have another individual that concentrates on all the rest of the projects. So it turns out to be about probably not quite a 50-50 split, but by the time you factor in all the compliance items, I'd say the responsibilities are pretty 50-50. So their jobs are to make sure they're communicating with the project teams, they're understanding the needs, they're staying ahead, keeping the forecasts of current work up to date, so that we can catch, if the schedule's sliding and we're going to compress, we know ahead of time before we go send a bunch of people there. We know, hey, maybe they're not needed yet. Maybe we got to postpone them. So they're keeping up with the project teams. Then we have one workforce coordinator who does a lot of the rubber meets the road work. So the dispatching, lining up screenings and backgrounds and whatever the job calls for, making sure trainings are assigned, things like that. So that's kind of how our team's comprised right now.
So there's about 4 today.
Yep, there's 4 of us today.
For about 1,500 to 2,000 employees, roughly?
Yep.
Yep.
Correct. And so that's, we're continuing to figure out how we continue to build that. Obviously, having a tool like RIVET enables us to be more productive. There's a lot less time going to different locations, looking for information, understanding who's got what license, where, all that information's there. So it really facilitates everything we need to do as far as decision making and information sharing.
Andrew, would you say that we hear less discussion from our job sites about sending them people they didn't need or they didn't request?
Oh yeah, by far. So we're able, using Rivet, we're able to communicate that really well. They can see what's coming. Very rarely do we get the Friday afternoon fire drills. Very rarely. It's typically either something has happened out of our control that we need to address, but otherwise we typically know weeks in advance whether these people are actually going to go to this job or whether they're not.
Talk to me about proactive versus reactive, because you mentioned the Friday fire drills, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people we talk to are in a reactive state where it's day to day, maybe week to week, but it's sort of a reaction game versus it sounds like you guys are seeing weeks ahead. We talked about the strategic visibility of the forecast, but you guys are seeing weeks ahead in the actual scheduling and intentional planning of people. Can you tell me more about what that proactive versus reactive feels like?
Yeah, our goal is working with our project management teams is to always be, we look out as far as the end of the job. We want to be forecasting what we're going to do all the way to the end of the job. Then we want to look at 4 weeks out and pretty well say, hey, these next 4 weeks is good. And then 3 weeks, we're pretty well locked in. This is going to happen. And we've gotten into this cadence with our project teams where they know that's the expectation, and that's what we're able to plan to and deliver on. This enables us to, when our employees are having to travel the country, they may be at a job for 12 months, and then they got to uproot and go, potentially across the country to the next one. So we want to give them at least 3 to 4 weeks to make time to plan that move, make arrangements, things like that. So it's enabled us to do that. So our goal is always to be proactive, giving them plenty of notice. The reactive piece, there are things that do come up just because there's oftentimes things out of your control. But at the same time, the tools we have today, we can react to those very quickly, whereas before it was, how many phone calls do I need to make to figure out where people are at? Well, I can go pull up the map. Hey, who's the closest to this that fits the need? And you can pretty easily narrow down, hey, who do I need to call to see who I can get deployed over there?
Project delivery, labor, greatest risk or reward, typically right on the job. Just Jeremy, what does it mean when you look at that as from the business perspective? What does it mean to have a tool supporting that side? Is labor the greatest risk for you guys? Is labor the greatest advantage? How does it make you feel more secure? What does it mean from the business's perspective or the project delivery perspective to know there's something controlling labor here?
Yeah, there's an extreme comfort there with understanding that where your labor's at and what you have that you can allocate or what you have allocated, and understanding where all of that's at and what that looks like. Because if it's unknown, then you're not sure if you can take on that project. You're not sure if you have project staffed appropriately. So there's a lot of comfort that comes with having that knowledge of where your labor's at.
Would you guys say, I put you up against 10 other contractors, right? is your labor maneuvering and your forecasting from a labor perspective. Is that is that an advantage when you guys think about going up against other contractors? Is it something that you think is more on par? How do you view this skill, right, inside the business?
Yeah, I think we do have an advantage because we've got the tools that help us deliver on what we say we're going to do. Additionally, like everybody else, hiring enough good help is a huge challenge. And there's oftentimes, if we can't see a cliff coming where there's maybe no work for a period of time or not enough work for a period of time, but we know it's going to accelerate in the near future, we can adapt and plan quickly so that we've got the workforce we need, right? We're not a company, we're not going to go hire up on a job and then lay everybody off at the end. Our goal is utilization across the board. We don't want anybody sitting idle, we don't have a bench. So that's our goal, is to always continue to keep people working. So the further we can look out and see that, we can ensure we've got the labor force we need to take on whatever commitments we've made for the future.
Does Rivet impact your employees' experience? If so, how?
Yeah, I mean, I think it impacts them in the way that, everybody wants more notice. Everyone wants more notice, but with the way the construction works, continuous change, we give them as much as we can. But, I mean, I think it's the difference in getting 3 weeks notice on a move as opposed to 3 hours notice on a move. So I think that positively impacts them for sure.
I think that ties in with our family core value also, is giving those people as much notice about when they're going to uproot their family and they're going to move across the country. So having that insight, having that knowledge, being able to communicate that early and proactively, I think that's a huge benefit, and that's a huge thing that helps us out as we keep moving forward in industry.
You guys were the first company. I drove up to your headquarters in Sioux Center, right? North of Sioux City.
Yes.
So I made my way up there. We stopped at the McDonald's down the road, got freshened up, and then came to the actual office, which was at the time a new, gorgeous, large facility. We have already outgrown it, quite frankly. But that was the first time, and this was years and years ago now, that was the first time I ever heard a company talk about one Interstates, one workforce, one company. I think you guys went to instead of offices, it was an open floor plan. I mean, it was a company culture from top to bottom. I think David Cromwell or somebody at the time was kind of, and his desk was out amongst, this was a company culture initiative. Tell me about how Rivet and the workforce played into that one company initiative.
Yeah, so before that we were technically several different companies under one parent company, and even just under the construction side, it felt very fragmented because we have our regional office locations that kind of operated independently or in kind of their own little silo, and it's really been able to help us promote collaboration, teamwork across the organization. As we see projects that maybe cross these geographical barriers, we're able to see so much more collaboration between our groups than we ever have, especially the last few years. Our regional managers and project managers have visibility into what the other groups are doing. I can see what those groups are doing. We know that, hey, Texas, our office in Texas is swamped. Our national traveling group has a period where we have capacity to help, so we can shift people to Texas to help that office for a period of time instead of them having to go up and hire up people and then maybe not have enough work to continue to keep them on, or go out and find temporary resources. So it's really enabled us to have a lot more collaboration on the work planning part, workforce planning.
We're in class, we're back in school, okay? And labor planning, labor maneuvering, labor forecasting, right? This labor operations kind of idea. If you were to give yourself a grade back in the day, 0%, absolute fail, everyone's sitting on the bench, we go out of business tomorrow. 100% means everything is somehow absolutely perfect. This person's on this job to the exact hour, their skills are balanced somehow perfectly. No job is ever leaving the 100% perfect, 0% absolute failure. Before Rivet or before these labor planning tools, what would you guys have given a fair kind of grade to yourself as?
Oh man.
I probably would have said, you know, in that 50-60%, but because I think the labor planning we were doing, what we could do was pretty good. It was extremely manual, took a lot of effort to achieve that, but it wasn't consistent across the organization. So pockets of it did it extremely well, but then different regional offices would do it in different ways versus like our national construction group, which I would say did an extremely good job of it. It just didn't carry over to the regional offices or the other areas of the organization.
Yeah, I was gonna say I spent a lot of years in the field, and there was times I'd have people show up to the job site on Monday morning that I had no idea were coming.
But that's very common too. Like, just,
Yep.
I mean, this was a long time. You know, this is a really long time ago for you. but it is one of those, like, and it's funny you say 50 to 60%, because I think you guys are one of the best in the industry, and I actually mean that, and I mean that in the way we see from our perspective. We get to see inside the four walls of many companies, and the ones that are the worst at it usually think that we were 80, 95%. We were great. And the ones that were the best at it are the ones that are like, shit, we may have been 30, 40%. And we're like, actually, it's the reverse. But, so, say it was 50 to 60%, right, before. After these tools, if you were to give yourselves a grade today on where you think you are, and it's not that the tool did it magically, but like where you as an organization, your processes with the tools, where are you today? What would that rating be today, 0 to 100%?
I think, and this isn't a knock on anything, I think we're still at probably like a 75, because I think we've got a long way to go. The tool's enabling us to get there. We are still not yet utilizing it to its full potential. We have some internal processes that we need to adjust to enable the tool to do more for us. So we're getting there. It's always a continuous improvement game in my head. I don't think perfect's achievable. So there's always room to get better.
The journey, I don't think, one, it's a journey. That's what we always tell people to do.
Absolutely.
It is a journey. You have to slowly get into this stuff. But two, there's probably no end to that journey either, because I think the industry keeps moving, evolving, the tools keep moving and evolving, and so, like, where's the end? Well, hopefully it just gets higher and better and better and better. But so I think this question should be fair then. Did Rivet help you get 1% better?
Oh, Rivet helped us get many percent better.
But at least 1%.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I'll tell you my favorite part about Rivet, and I'm not blowing smoke, is the people that make up Rivet, because there's a lot of folks out there that can build a tool that can work for you, but there's not many that will listen to their users and implement changes for the better. I have direct numbers for a lot of people that will always listen and help solve problems. Like, that's huge for me. So that's I think is one of the big difference makers.
What has your interactions with the Rivet people been like? Whether it's just meeting somebody, whether it's knowing them for years, what is the Rivet team? What's it been like? Adoption, just what's it been like working with the people of Rivet?
For me, it's fantastic. From the support team, if I've got a little problem because I'm not smart enough to remember how to do something in it, I can reach out on the chat. I can email somebody.
Are they real people?
Oh, absolutely, they're real people. And if they don't have an answer right away, I get to follow up very quickly. And the best part is, I'm not going to say who we were with prior, but the support was awful. The responses were canned out of the box. It was often days, if not weeks, to hear back on issues. Whereas I can send in the littlest issue, and I generally have a response. If it's not within minutes, it's within the hour.
It's funny because we'll talk to groups that are at that other place, and we'll be like, we swear there's a better way, there's a better place to be, and they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. There are people that have been down this road before, and they can tell you literally what's going on. Last question. This is my last question. I know we're close on time here, but we're sitting at a bar, as we all will be here in a moment. But we're sitting at a bar, and an electrical contractor walks in. They're not going to be your competitor ever. You will never see them again. We have a few drinks. They sit down. What do you tell them about Rivet?
First, I want to know how they're doing their labor planning today. And then,
What do they tell you? I don't have a tool, but we're at least 80, 90%. We're really good.
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's anything else out there that gives you the insight that we get with this tool. I don't think there's anything else out there that has the people that Rivet has that are always looking for continuous improvement and making it better and wanting to make it work for the people that are actually using it, not just doing what they want to do. So I would say if you're not using, I don't know how I'd do this job without it. To be quite frank, I'd be pretty frustrated every day. I'll tell you, the one thing I hear from more people within my company, man, I'm sure glad I don't have your job. That's got to be the worst job ever, and it's not. I love it, and
But it used to be the hot seat, though. Everybody
Yes.
jokes labor maneuvering is the hot seat.
if I didn't have the tools to do it, I would hate it.
Yeah.
Because then how do you do it? So that's kind of where I'm at.
I tell them about the easy use. I'm not an everyday user, but when I get in there, I can go through, I can find what I need. I can pull out the information, the data, I can find it, extract it. It gets me what I need. So I'm super happy with that.
Love it. Love it. Was there a job that Rivet helped you guys either make more money or save money on? What was any stories pop into your mind?
So that one I struggle with a little bit because sometimes again, we're not perfect, but we've gotten this process to a point where we're catching issues faster and we're seeing them coming, and the tool's not fixing the problem. The tool is giving us the cues to have the critical conversations to fix the problem before it becomes a problem. So Jeremy and I were talking about this just the other day, and every schedule gets compressed because nothing falls on time, right? So we can forecast and we can know that, hey, over the next week, we got to get 10 people to this job, and they're going to be there for 6 to 8 weeks. Well, if that schedule slips and we don't actually need those people, or let's say we send them and they're 50% productive because the work's just not ready, there we've probably lost, $65,000, $80,000, something like that.
It also, that sets a bad tone for a job when the job is running at decreased efficiency, and it sets a tone, and then it's hard to get that back.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we can catch those things early enough before they become a problem, they do save money. And then, like Jeremy's talking about, if you get to a job and there's not enough for you to do, you become discouraged, and then that just leads to productivity going down the tank. And then you're out way more money at the end of that thing. So it makes a huge difference.
It's been a ride. Thank you guys for being a part of the Champ program here this year and in years prior. And just the partnership through those years has been incredible. From past organizations to Rivet, I hope I'm not egregious when I say this has come a long ways, and I think there's so much more for this to do in the years to come. And I hope we all get to continue to be a part of it and drive it to where it needs to go. But it's just super exciting. We can't thank you guys enough. We are in this
we appreciate
super cycle. You guys are super busy. You're in the middle of all this operational stuff, but we really appreciate you guys taking the time to be here with us and to be a part of this. It is, like I said, one of our favorite things that we get to do as an organization, and it's only because you guys actually take the time to spend it with us, and we just can't thank you enough. So
Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
yeah. Anything I missed? Anything else that we need to get out there?
I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we're good.
Go Big Red. All right. We'll do it.
No, not Big Red.
Thank you guys.